Were you ever in love with him?
Yes. Is that a serious question?
Yeah.
No. No.
It's not a question of... By his own admission, he has said that he led you on at times. And he clearly
I gave him the brush off. He asked me to sleep with him with a big green spot in his face one day. I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
He asked you to do what?
He asked me to sleep with him.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be complaining about something else again. Surprise, surprise. Today we're going to be having a look at Baby Reindeer, a series that follows a man who was viciously stalked by a woman named Martha. It is based on true events and therefore the things I am going to talk about today with you are sensitive subjects that cover SA and other similar themes. So if you are sensitive to those things, I suggest maybe this video is not for you. But yeah, on with the video. So Baby Reindeer is a Netflix-owned series. I genuinely thought that it was incredible. I think it was very, very good. And ultimately, I think it is one of the best portrayals of SA in the media that I have ever seen. I'm going to start off by saying that as an SA victim myself, I have spoke about this on the channel before. This series for me was the closest representation to what it is like in the aftermath and the thoughts and feelings that you have as a result of being SA'd. And I think it's a shame that the internet has taken the route that it has done in terms of its reaction to Baby Reindeer, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So my first complaint is that Martha's character, I can now name her Fionaharvey. Everybody knows who she is now, despite the fact that Richard Gadd specifically said he didn't want people to find the people that are being represented in the show. He wanted to keep them private. He didn't want you to go and search for them. The internet, being the joyous internet, went out of their way to find Martha, aka Fionaharvey, in real life. And she shortly after ended up being paid £250 to appear on the blessed Piersmorgan Uncensored show. And we all love Piers Morgan, don't we? He's definitely not and we're going to start off by watching that today. So obviously, if you haven't seen Baby Reindeer, this video isn't for you. Click off, go watch it, or don't. I'm not making you.
Well, thank you for joining me, Fiona. First of all, why have you decided to go public?
The internet sleuths tracked me down and hounded me and gave me death threats, so it wasn't really a choice. I was forced into this situation.
What do you hope to achieve?
I mean, I can partially understand what she is saying there. People did track her down. And that is the first problem that we have here. I'm not surprised, and I don't think any of you would be, that people took it upon themselves to do some investigating and find her real identity. But the problem is they didn't just do this with Martha's character, they did this with Darian's character, resulting in a innocent person, Sean Foley, being accused of the actions of Darian. I partially do blame Netflix for this. If you are going to cast people to look exactly like the people that it is based off, you are obviously going to expect people to react in a way that is trying to find these people, and platforming her alone is a wild, wild thing to do. Yeah, it's bad enough having Fionaharvey dragged on here and paid £250, which is the most measly amount I have ever heard of. But then, yeah, you've got innocent people being dragged into it because they look alike to the characters portrayed. And I think that is the part where Netflix ultimately failed in keeping people safe.
Have you watched the drama?
Not at all. I've heard about the court scene, about the jail sentences and all this sort of stuff.
But you really haven't watched any of it?
I haven't watched any of it.
You're not curious to?
No, I think I'd be sick. It's taken over enough of my life. I find it quite obscene. I find it horrifying, misogynistic. Some of the death threats have been really terrible online. People phoning me up. You know, it's been absolutely horrendous. I wouldn't give credence to something like that, and it's not really my kind of drama.
Okay, I've got a few things to say about this, and you need to bear with me because I don't actually have a script. This is all off the top of my head. But firstly, she says in this interview that she's never seen it and proceeds to list a number of scenes that she has supposedly been told about. And I think we can all agree here that she has seen the show. Guilty or not, right? If it was me, if I was Fiona in this situation, I would have watched the show. If I was that outraged that someone is making up lies about me, spinning fairy tales, living with the fairies, and making up some obscene misogynistic lies, I would watch it and be like, what the freak? You know, I would have seen it. So automatically saying you've not watched it to prove that you're not that bothered about seeing it is bull, because you're on the show talking about how outraged you are. Secondly, using the word misogyny, of course, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant one. Misogyny is a real life thing. That is a problem. Misogyny bad. Good one, Katie. But what I'm trying to say is to throw the term misogyny around just to really make it like you're a victim in this situation. I don't think that the abuse she is receiving online is at all helpful, especially when Richard himself said that he did not want that. People have kind of gone against his wishes. And if you're attacking Fiona Harvey online because you feel like you should be doing it because Richard Gadd's a victim of her, you're actually not listening to the victim himself and respecting his wishes to leave the people alone. Now, you could argue, well, why would you make these people so goddamn alike visually, even the way they speak, everything they post, everything was so similar. People are obviously going to find that, and I do partially believe that Netflix themselves, as a company, would know that. I don't think that's hard to see.
Did you know that you were the person being depicted in this?
5 years ago on BBC Breaking News, I saw Mr. Gadd had written a play for the Edinburgh Festival, and he was holding up placards, MP's wife stalker, and all of this, and he'd called it Baby Reindeer. That's all I knew. And I thought, well, I've only met this guy 2 or 3 times. I don't know him. And left it at that. I should have possibly jumped it at that stage.
She only met him a few times and she doesn't really know him, but she later on goes to admit that she sent him a handful of emails congratulating him on his show. That's not really the behaviour of someone that doesn't really know somebody. This woman is a liar. I'm not even going to spend the majority of this video watching this woman. I just wanted to show you guys so you have a little bit of background knowledge on the fact that she has been platformed in this way to then go on to spin a load of lies and discredit Richard's story, to which people are taking this interview as an opportunity to pick Team Fiona Harvey or Team Richard Gadd. If you are one of those people, by the way, that are engaging in that sort of behaviour, you're a bum and you should get off the internet.
The show shows you coming in to a London pub, you've just named the pub, and he's working behind the bar, Richard Gadd, and he offers you a cup of tea. Is that what happened?
No, that's not correct. He didn't offer me a cup of tea. Nobody gets anything free from the Holy Arms. I was in for a meal with a drink of lemonade, and I was very, very hungry. I'm diabetic, so very hungry. So that's.
And did you talk to him?
He interrupted a conversation. There was another barman there, and he said, "Oh, you're Scottish," and basically commandeered the conversation. I was talking to somebody. It's pretty rude to interrupt. So he seemed to be obsessed with me from that moment onwards.
I mean, just speaking to you, I never met you before, but you do look and sound very similar to the actress in the drama.
I haven't seen the actress. We're both Scottish. We've both got dark hair.
She hasn't seen the actress, but she knows that she's Scottish and has dark hair and is a larger lady. That they are the 3 characteristics of Martha and Fiona Harvey that are recognisable, as well as the way that she types, as well as the stuff that she puts online, as well as the fact that you could find the tweets to Richard Gadd. I mean, ultimately, I don't think you need a degree to work out that this woman is a liar. And I find it very, very insulting to essay victims in general, but also essay victims that are male.
I think that anyone going along, being in that play and doing this to somebody, I find the behaviour outrageous.
He says the whole thing started because he felt sorry for you, and that's why he befriended you.
Your staff said that to me in the waiting room. This is a lot of nonsense. I've got lots of friends.
What did you talk to him about?
It was just a Holy Arms banter. It was...
like what? What kind of thing?
What you're going to do with your life, or, career stuff, sort of... And I thought he was a stand-up show.
She seems to know an awful lot about him and had a lot of conversations with him at the pub that they keep referencing. So I don't think her saying that she didn't know him is at all something that we can believe. And... remembering specific conversations you've had with someone is very more likely if you've had multiple with them. And yeah, I actually don't want to watch any more of this. I want to get on to talk to you guys about my problem with people's reaction, because everyone is insane and the world needs to end. So one thing that I saw on TikTok that really annoyed me was this whole team fionaharvey or team Richard Gadd. Now, if you're one of those people that are making it like a football game, you really need psychiatric help. This is a story of a man that was abused and essayed and trying to act like it is quirky and cool to support fionaharvey, someone who, by the way, has a history of stalking and abuse that isn't part of Richard's story. You're a little bit weird. Same to the people who are taking TikTok audios out of context from the show and using them for the most ridiculous things I have ever seen. I will show you some TikToks that boiled my blood right now.
I love it. I'm addicted to it. I don't know anything else.
So there is your first example of someone taking a video of Richard Gadd in the series Baby Reindeer, talking about how he can't live without abuse and his traumatic experience with SA, and someone's taken it out of context to use it for them talking about their vape. And I mean, I don't have to say much about that. I can assume most of you watching can think about why that may be a very disrespectful and discrediting thing to do. I think the internet is ultimately plagued and people have no idea how to react to serious situations. And I do agree with the people saying, you know, this is not helping men come forward about their abuse if this is the reaction. If I came forward about my experiences online, especially to this extent, and people took them out of context and plastered them all over TikTok, where everyone would see them and where I would have the potential of running into them, I would be probably quite disturbed. Yes, making thirst traps, making sexual videos out of a man who came forward about abuse. That seems to make a lot of sense. Yeah, I can't be doing with the internet these days. If your reaction when you watch a series of a man that talks about trauma, that talks about SA, that talks about rape, is to then take videos of him where you deem him looking fine, you're sick in the head. You're really sick in the head. Thank you very much. I'm not a complete hater of everything Baby Reindeer. I actually really do like the show for a number of reasons. I think I really like the show because I like how they depict victims as not being perfect victims. For example, how Richard had gone back to Darian. A lot of people had a very annoying reaction to that, like they always do. Why would you go back to someone who abused you? Why would you go back to a rapist? That's sometimes how abuse works. You go back to people that have done terrible things to you. That is unfortunately the horrible reality to abuse. And it's just narrow-minded people that can't think outside of the box or just use a little bit of common sense to not make comments like that online. And I've never seen a series before depict SA and trauma in such a good way. It really genuinely has the potential to help a lot of people. I know a lot of people that have spoken out about their experiences because of the show. I think it is a very, very good show. I do think Netflix kind of fucked up in some ways, and I think the general public are a bunch of fucking idiots and don't know when to stop. But also, I don't blame them in a way, because what do you expect the general public to do? You portray people to look exactly, what they look like in real life. People are going to find them, and that's going to have repercussions. And it is Netflix's responsibility to stop that from happening. As a production company, I don't really know what they expected. But if you can take anything away from this video, I'm going to give you a number of points. Number one, stop taking videos out of context from anyone's trauma, from any bad situations, and turning them into a TikTok audio. Number two, stop speculating on whether Richard's story is correct as a result of him going back to the abuser in the show. If you really genuinely think that, then you need to get checked. Number three, stop saying things like, oh my god, my Queen Martha, Slay Queen, Fiona Harvey's actually kind of serving thoughts or whatever dumb things you're coming up with. She did horrible things to him. And if it was the other way around, you would not be calling a man a queen and a king for abusing a woman. So let's just stop that right there. Number 4, whatever we're on. Stop making thirst traps of somebody in a show where the show centers around abuse and trauma, because that is highly strange. So strange. So odd and strange. If you're doing that, you need help. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, it was a bit all over the place, but to be honest, that's just my thoughts. So can't really help that. And I'll see you in the next video.